in child protective services, and they won't give them back to their loving families because they're making money.
This is a legal system that you're going into. And if you don't know the rules, you will be chewed up and spit out.
If I could say anything to a mother who just got their children detained, you're in a crisis. Yeah. Life feels like it's over. The most important thing is regaining custody of your children.
The child welfare system at its core is designed to protect children who need protection, okay? And that's key, is who need protection.
So social workers, out of fear, will remove more children rather than only remove those children that truly need to be removed.
It's okay. It's okay.
This isn't someone stole your car. Someone broke into your house. This is someone took your child, your flesh and blood.
It doesn't say on this order that it was not proven. It says untrue. I immediately knew that, okay, well, this ain't over.
Were there signs there? Were there no signs? Did I miss them? Did I catch them? At this point, I honestly don't know.
Families only get a finite amount of time to reunify.
I came into this field to help families, not destroy them.
The difference between the criminal system and the child welfare system is substantial. You have more rights as a criminal than you do as a parent.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Georgette Truan. I am the co-host, and I also work for the law office of W. Davis. Okay, so I hear an advice. Hey, Michael.
Hi, Georgette.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm good, honey. Go ahead and mute yourself, Michael, because I hear an echo. Okay, so today we have a grandmother. Her name is Dana, and the case is in California. And I have my co-host, Michael Cardina. And Michael is very dear to my heart. I know so much about his case. He is a victim of CPS, 100% a victim, such as Dana and many of you guys out there. There is something I need to read to you guys, and I'm going to share a few other things with you guys as well. So the laws as it pertains to the legislative laws in California, when it pertains to the Welfare and Institution Code. Okay, it says a parent or a legal guardian may make a video or audio recording of his or her interview or interaction with a county child protective services social worker who is investigating allegations of parental abuse or neglect. The legislator finds and declares that nothing in existing law prevents a parent or legal guardian from making a video or audio recording of his or her interview or interactions with a county child protective services social worker. A county child protective services social worker participation in an investigation of parental abuse or neglect shall be deemed consent to video or audio recording pursuant to subdivision A. A county child protective services social worker assigned to a role performing duties that includes assuming the custody of a child or conducting interviews of a child or his or her parent in order to investigate allegation of parental abuse or neglect shall provide notification to a parent or a legal guardian undergoing investigation of parental abuse or neglect in writing that the parent or legal guardian may make a video or audio recording of his or her interview or interaction with a county child protective services social worker. A copy of the written notification shall be signed by the parent or legal guardian and returned to the county child Protective Services social worker to acknowledge receipt of the written notification. So Title IV, everyone, it gives states money from the federal government, that is, for each child taken out of the home and placed with a non-family members. They get extra money if the child has special needs. In the United States, the parents do not own their children. The state does. The United States took ownership of children through the public education because it's mandated. Okay? Investigators in Florida, CPS investigators, that is, falsify records to keep their jobs in Florida. DCFS workers faces charges. I'll give you an example. I talked about it on my show today at 1 o'clock. When a social worker says to the parent, I spoke to your children and your children said they're being abused and they don't want to go home, right? 100% of the time, the child doesn't say that. And they falsify reports to gain what they want, which is your child. They set rules in place in these demonic piece of shit entities, right, to violate your rights. So that's why they give grandparents a hard time. For example, the grandmother that actually lost her 6-month-old grandchild. First, she lost her daughter, the mother of the child. Then she lost her grandchild to DCFS. And that child died in the foster home. That was just a few days ago. But the grandmother, right? We would not leave the baby with the grandmother. Why? Because they would rather have the child in a foster home. Another thing, too, that I find so disgusting. Michael, go ahead and put on mute, baby. I think you, the echo's coming from your end. So, CPS removed children because their parents cannot afford to take care of them, right? And then pay strangers to take care of them. What kind of bullshit is that? They would rather pay strangers to take care of children that is removed from a home because a mother or the father lost their job. And they went to the county to apply for food stamps or cash aid or whatever, right? To hold them together until they find employment. But what does DCFS does? They work together with the freaking counties, right? And they steal children from their families who are trying to make ends meet to support their kids. But they would rather pay a piece of shit foster parent money to watch somebody else's children, where 7 out of 10 kids either die or abused in a foster home. That's our country. This is what's going on in the United States all the freaking effing time. Parents have kids. You have no rights to your children. You don't freaking have a right to your own children. You can't raise them the way you want to. You can't cuddle them. You can't love them, because instantly, just a blink of an eye, they could be gone. Because you were trying to do the best you can as a parent. It's disgusting. Go ahead, Michael. I'm gonna mute myself. Go ahead.
I mean, Georgette, is my microphone okay now? Can you hear me okay?
I muted myself, so every time you talk, I'll mute myself.
Okay, I think I adjusted it, so hopefully it's working better. I mean, Georgette, me and Georgette, we've been talking for a little bit over a year now, and I was kind of like, when she was telling me about this stuff initially, I didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. But everything she said is true. It's happening every day, and it's happening everywhere. And I think the last time I was on the show, we were talking about CPS going global. That's the worst thing ever. And I still can't wrap my finger around it. I can't talk too much about what I have going on right now, but everything Georgette has said is true, and I've experienced it. And I've been going through this for like a year and a half as a non-offending parent. And yeah, I was in a similar position to what Georgette described. You know, I was, living with a friend, still working and stuff, but trying to get my stuff together. I just had a divorce. And I swear, whether it's a CPS worker or just your standard social worker at the front of the, the social services building, they are like taking notes. Like everything that happened to me, you don't notice it because it happens so fast. These people are that good at what they do. I mean, it's not by accident. I mean, they plan this stuff and then it hits you so fast you're left not knowing what's happening. And if you don't have proper representation, like I did not, I had a county appointed attorney. You're in for a rough ride.
And actually, everything Michael said is actually correct too. I've known Michael for over a year and a half, and this guy is an amazing man, amazing father. He's truly a great person. Like seriously, me and him kid around a lot. Sometimes we make each other laugh. But I mean, it blows my mind every time I speak to him because he's not a dummy. He's an intelligent man. He's a loving man to his his kids, and it breaks my heart that a man like that is fighting to get his child back, his children back. He's not. He's the non-offending parent. That's what breaks me because there are so many mothers and grandparents and aunts and uncles who are trying to collect their family together, and they can't because social workers, the system would rather pay foster parents money than to give the children to their own family. But the ones who are really being abused are the ones who are not removed. As they only remove the ones who are not abused. Because damaged goods to them in their little brain of a bird brain head, damaged goods kids are not adoptable. But good kids are adoptable. Healthy kids are adoptable. So there's not one social worker out there that actually does the right thing, do their job. They're trained not to do the right thing. They're trained to steal children from their families and accuse parents like Michael and others of shit they didn't do.
And they're aided by your court-appointed attorney. In my case, yeah, I and then I fought, eventually 6 months down the road, 7 months down the road, I fired my counselor, and the court retaliated. Like the judges retaliated on me, the social workers, but they've been it is a monster, and I'm a perfect target. I live about 10 hours away from any near relatives, and Yeah, you know, and CPS is, I mean, what it is a dirty word. It is a dirty word, and then people automatically, most people, relatives, your friends, whatever it is, um, automatically assume, like, if you're involved in one of these cases, that you're, you know, a bad person or a bad parent. In most cases. Um,
Right.
so it just really has a catastrophic effect on a
Mm-hmm.
person's life.
Mm-hmm.
And but I want to back up a little bit. Georgette's absolutely right too, because I remember in the beginning of my case, I had several relatives trying to you know, have, you know, welcome that were wanting to welcome my son to live with him, so he didn't have to go into the foster system.
Mm-hmm.
The social worker was just so difficult. I'm reading some of the service logs I have now, and they're saying like, oh, I left messages for Michael. You know, he's not responding to me. That's
Mm-hmm.
BS. I had to call her supervisor and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, you talk to my cousin. You can talk to my, you know, who, you know, but you know, anybody really. If I can I authorize these people. You can talk to them. And even after I did that over the phone, the social worker was still being difficult, and wouldn't even give me visitation with my son there for a minute. So it was just really weird. I didn't get a call when they took the kid. Um, I don't know, man. I just but if you don't have the right representation and you're by yourself, I mean, trying to figure out all this stuff is it's almost
It's hard.
impossible
It's very
because
hard.
you're dealing with all the emotional stuff, and
Mhm.
I don't know, it's a really horrible feeling. I mean, I mean, it's definitely been the worst year and a half of my life. You know, I don't know. There's no other way to explain it than there is no way to explain it. There really isn't, because like Georgette said, they do not protect the kids that need protection. You know, it's just bizarre. It is I'm dumbfounded. I really don't have an explanation other than it is just evil,
Evil.
pure
They're
evil,
very evil. They are.
perpetrated by like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like people that are very unintelligent. Put it that way. Very juvenile with the way they antagonize you.
Mhm.
This and the stuff that they're able to get away with. The stuff that they put in documents that is signed off by a supervisor and then submitted to the courts, just full of, you know, misinformation. I mean, it's just slander and everything like that. But the problem, I think, is people don't say anything, you know, or people bow out, you know, because they can't take it's so difficult, what these social workers will do, and they'll do anything. You know, I'd be like, oh man, that I would laugh at some of the things they would do, and I'm like, how are they gonna top that? Oh, they top it. You know, every time. It's crazy. So I
No,
don't know what's so.
but you
I
know,
don't
Michael,
know.
not to go ahead and
No, go
mute.
ahead.
Your mic is not your mic. I think is the reason why I hear the echo. So Michael is right about what he said as well. However, Dana, I want to share something also before we hear your story.
Okay.
Social workers, whoever is watching out there, okay, if they tell you that your children said they don't want to be home with you, they are freaking lying. Okay. And I'm being nice when I say freaking because I want to say the other word. Okay. And I'm trying to be nice, but they're freaking lying. Your kids do want to come back. Your kids addressing they want to go back, but then they cancel your visits. They tell your children, your mother or father refused to come and see you. I have a child that was in the system who is now 18 years old. He said to me, he said, Miss G, I've been watching you. And let me tell you something. When he was adopted, by the way, him and his sister. And he said when they were with the adoptive family, right? They told him that your mom and dad do not want to see you anymore. They give up their rights and they give you up. He said that he and his sister grew up traumatized in that home. And the foster family brainwashed them to think that their parents literally let them go. His sister is 2 years older than him. I haven't spoken to her yet, but I've spoken to him. And when he was telling me the story, he was in tears. Because he said, a part of me didn't believe they were right. Because he said, my parents loved me and my sister. They told us every day they loved us. They never abused us. They never neglected us. They never beat us. They never, not once did they yell at each other. So when I asked him what happened, he said all of a sudden they were asleep and they were removed from the home early morning. And he said, all we know is that after he found his mother, then his mother explained to him what happened. It was just an allegation. That's all it is. A not even proven allegation. That's why these mother F judges, right? They believe everything that the social worker writes in their reports. But these damn social workers are liars. They're pathological, sociopathic, narcissistic assholes who write false information down every minute of the freaking day. And they're not being held accountable for it. Michael, you know exactly where I'm coming from with this.
And a lot of them, in my case, they're not even good at it. They're not, the lies aren't even good. And it's just, and I experienced that just the other day. You know, I was admonished in the courtroom for whatever. Okay. And then, after waiting for like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks for this hearing, then, I'm admonished, for getting in an argument because with one of the mandated reporters that was at the visitation center, because my kid was, talking about being hungry and things like that, and with the visitation center person right there, listening, and there's been a few instances like that over the last year, and they're not. I'm like, you guys don't say anything, that's your, you're supposed to report these, these things that aren't right, whether, it's physical abuse or just, something, neglect, something that's not providing for the kid. And, she wrote it up as something, other than it was. And then the judge admonished me for that. I'm like, what? And after he admonished me, and then he didn't even give me a chance to say anything. Like, and then he's like, and then he looked over at the social worker and he said, so the recommendation still stands to do this, right? Give it back, give the child back to the offending parent that's not feeding him and all that stuff. It's just man, that's why that was kind of like the final like nail in the coffin as far as the court, it being dead to me, like thinking that I was gonna even get a sliver of any fairness, or I know life's not fair, but at the same time, come on. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but what you don't understand, Michael, like I told you before, is that they do leave the children with the abuser. However, they already know that they're gonna come back and take the children again from that abuser. You have to understand that every time they remove a child, they get money. They already know that abuser is gonna mess up, right? And they're gonna come back. That's
It's
why
a
they don't want to leave
win-win.
the kids with you, because you're not the one neglecting the kids. You're not the one abusing the children. Get it? They need a reason to come back. So they do this with everybody, whether you're a grandmother, whether you're an aunt, uncle, father, mother, it doesn't matter. They do this with everybody. Dana, I would like for you to share your story. I know your case is in California and you are the grandmother in that matter.
Right.
Hi, Dana.
Okay. Hi. My daughter and her husband, she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl on September 1st. And she was put in the NICU. And I've been I was at first told that I could take the baby home straight from the NICU, because CPS came in and put a hold on her for some fictitious reasons. My daughter was on methadone when she gave birth. So the baby had a few problems and stayed in the NICU for about a month. But the hold was because they said that the father tried to take the baby from the NICU and run with her, which I know that's not true, because if he would have, then they wouldn't have let him back in the hospital to feed the baby every 3 hours like he was doing. And so they told me that I could take the baby home from the NICU. And on the day that she went home with the foster mom, where she's been for the last 5.5, almost 6 months. And so they're now having a 366 hearing on Wednesday. And I've been going through the resource parent process since about the first week of September, trying to get established as a resource parent. And it's just been one thing after the next. And they're just making me jump through hoops. I was a resource parent back in 2018 with 2 of my other grandkids. And there was an incident where I was hospitalized for 4 days, and it was on Thanksgiving. And the social workers said right off the bat, don't try to get in contact with us, because we will not be here for the 5-day weekend. We're all going to be gone. So we took that as don't, try to get in contact with them. And Thanksgiving Day, I was put in the hospital with a complex migraine. I'd never had a problem before. I haven't had a problem since. And my husband or my mom didn't call them, but the kids were fine with my mom and my husband. It's not like they were at the house by themselves. And we had to relinquish our foster care license because we didn't call and notify them that I was at the hospital. And because one of my other granddaughters was at the house. She was an emergency placement, and we were only supposed to have the one granddaughter, so we had to relinquish the license. So hopefully we get approved for the resource parent, but I just they're making me really nervous with this. I can't hear you. Oh, shoot.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. What was the allegation against your daughter? Like, for example, what was the reason for their involvement to begin with?
They said that she had drugs in her system, the Klonopin in her system, which she admitted to taking 1 before her C-section, and it was prescribed by her physician.
Uh-huh.
And they also said that because of her prior CPS cases, which her first son, who lives here with me and my mom adopted him when he was born, but she actually gave him up for adoption because she knew that she was too young to take care of a child. And so it was a mutual agreement. It wasn't actually something where she didn't complete her, thing with CPS. It was a willing thing. Before she had the baby, she knew that she was going to give the baby up for adoption. And then they're saying that her second son, she didn't complete anything, but that was not a CPS case ever. She was clean and sober the whole pregnancy. So they're making up all these false allegations. Mm-hmm. Her and her husband they have a car wash business. They have their own place that was actually approved before she had the baby. And, they're not, they're doing pretty well, actually. They were doing better before she had the baby, because now she's just like, she was really thrilled to learn that she was having a girl. She's always wanted a little girl. And now they've taken that from her. And she's at her wit's end.
Yeah, this really, it's that's what I don't understand. And every time I I want to bring it up to Mr. Davis. I want to ask him, why do they, and I forget because I'm so busy at work, I tend to forget. And he's busy too. He's in hearings, he's in trials, he's in other states, fighting this demonic piece of shit asshole system. But the thing about it is what they do, Michael, stop doing that every time I say that. But the reason I want to ask him is because I don't understand how they can just go and steal a child because of a previous case.
Right.
Especially in your daughter's matter, she actually was too young. She had the child adopted. She did the right thing. But why are they going back in time and they're not looking at what's going on in the moment?
Right. They're very unforgiving. Very, very unforgiving.
So
And
who is the father of lies? The devil.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I look at it. The devil is the father of lies because the devil always reminds you of your past.
Right.
And he holds your past against you when God is saying, I forgave you. But the devil keeps holding it against you. So that's why I call them demonic assholes.
Right.
Okay? Now we all get it. I made it very clear to everybody. They are demonic assholes. Okay? Because her daughter doesn't deserve to be without her baby. She's actually with her partner. They're both outstanding members of society. Why go and steal that baby?
Yeah.
Why are they using the past against you? And that's a question that I need to ask Mr. Davis because it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. I can understand if she killed her baby, God forbid, before. I can understand that. And that's why they're reluctant to keep that baby with her, right?
Right.
But your daughter didn't do any of that.
No.
And then they put the baby in a home. God knows what's going on in that home. Right? Because
that home. I mean, don't even get me started on that home. It's just the foster mom stopped visitation for 3 weeks in a row because she said that they all had COVID and that she took the baby to the doctor on the 3rd week to get it tested for, retested, took it to the pediatrician. But then I got her on video saying that the baby hadn't been to the doctor for 2 months and she didn't know how much it weighed. And then we have a picture of the baby laying in the foster mom's bed with a Doberman pinscher right next to her and the paw on its head, on her head. Just got that today.
But God forbid if that was your daughter, right?
Yeah.
If your daughter misses one doctor appointment, guess what?
They snatched up. I texted that picture to the social worker and I said, "This is the sleeping arrangements for the baby." Because that dog could roll over. She could roll off the bed at any time. The dog could roll over on her. Who knows what could happen?
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. I've seen some stuff like that with my son, a giant pit bull, and my kid's, he's young, he's 6 years old, so this thing is, 100 pounds or whatever, and I can see that my son is terrified of this dog, and but it's okay, for the foster parent to do that, to and he eventually got hurt. He had a big old scratch on his face and a bruise. And, again, if that was you or me or Georgette, the average person, either we could lose a child. That's the thing that I think I don't understand it. And I don't think a lot of people understand what they can do and what they can, and then there's no consequence for anything.
Right.
So that, and, a lot of people are suffering,
You know how they say, guys, how they have the justice system with a scale, like tilts, whatever, and whatever. They're full of shit. That scale should have poop in it. Seriously. Yeah. They really do. That should be our judicial system. Poop. Because that's all they are. They're shedding on the people.
Mm-hmm. They are.
They're shedding on the people. And that's it. And the reason they shed on people, right, is because they're demonic assholes who don't take accountability for their own actions.
Right.
That's who they are.
No accountability.
No accountabilities. They're not held accountable for shit. That's why I call judges wearing black robe fever, a black robe. They have like a black robe fever, and they go in court and say, I'm the judge. I have a title. Whoopee-yay, mother. That's exactly what I feel like calling them. Because it's like, what the fuck is this? You're actually a judge sitting on a freaking bench, not asking for evidence? Where is the freaking evidence, judge? That's the way I look at it. Yes, if I was a social worker, and God forbid, I will kill myself if I was a social worker. Not literally, but you know what I mean. But for a judge not to ask the worker, where is the evidence that so-and-so did what so-and-so did? Where's the evidence? None.
It's a travesty. People are losing their kids are losing their parents, and we're not even given the opportunity to submit or present or a counselor that's willing to work with us or go up to bat for us. They just want us to admit guilt or something and then get burned in these services where the social worker, they're supposed to, I think, what is it? They're supposed to stand up for social justice, and they're supposed to assist you in all these things and your reunification services, and they're not supposed to be your best friend or anything, but they're supposed to help you, pure and simple. And they do the exact opposite.
But what did I just say, though, guys? I said they would rather pay a foster family than help the mother or the father that's struggling because he or she lost their job. And people, because of COVID, people like landlords, for example, they don't care that you lost your job, right? Because everything was lifted. They can evict people. So it's very hard for family to survive, especially in America. Everything is so expensive in California, in San Francisco, in New York, for example.
Yeah, we moved up to this rural area in Northern California for the cost of living. It is no longer that cheap anymore. Like, it's not worth it. And Georgette, and it has really taken me like about a year through all this to figure out that there is it feels like a predetermined outcome with these things, with the children's lawyers, the parents, court appointed attorneys, and then and the police officers that are involved, whatever. They all, it seems to be like a very well oiled machine that they have going on. So do not trust anybody in the court system at all. Anybody appointed to you by the court, do not trust them, because it's a sick thing. I hate that I have to say it, but they are, the courts know what they're doing. They're good. They're good. This isn't an accident. It's a sick machine that they got going, and it favors the criminals.
I saw a video on TikTok today where a social worker is entering somebody's home, trying to enter somebody's home. So the father and mother said no, and they had them on camera. I see that police officer right behind her, the social worker that is. She kind of squeezed her way in, and she's yelling at the parents, telling them she can do whatever she wants to do. She's been doing this for 25 years. I swear she looked like a Karen. She really did. I was looking at her. I'm like, she literally pushed her way in there, and the police is not doing shit about it. And then I thought to myself, the police are just following rules, right? The officers are following rules because they assume the social worker has a reason to be there. I have spoken to so many different officers that I know, okay, that I have connections with, and they told me that they don't trust CPS. but they follow the guidelines, right? Like I said, there's rules in every entity, right? Mr. Davis has rules in his office, right? If you have a business, you have your own rules. Same thing with them, right? So they violate your rights with these rules they put in place. So basically, the police is gagged in a way, right? Because they just do whatever the social worker says. But there are some officers, I was told, from their mouth that they refuse to remove children if there's no abuse or neglect. Then the social worker would have to leave, come back with different officers. I mean, there's so much going on in the system that people don't understand. I don't even blame the police. I blame CPS. I blame our government. I blame Congress. I blame the President of the United States. I blame the Vice President of the United States. Where are you, and why aren't you protecting your so-called people that vote for your asses to be presidents and vice presidents? Come on. Are you guys eating beans all day long? Are you that fool that you can't wake up? Or you just eat beans and fart all day long? To me,
we
it doesn't
we gotta
make
look to ourselves as people too, and why
ridiculous.
are we not? Why? I mean, there's more people need to come out, and we need to fight together in the right way, because
Right.
it's going to take a lot, and then that's yeah, the all the people you mentioned, the president, all that in our cities too, the board members and all that, because they're parts. They're
Oh,
involved in
please.
this
The
too.
mayor is in on it too.
Anybody, I mean,
The
the
mayor,
message we
oh
have to get the
God.
people need to not be so scared, they need to fight. We need to fight back. We can't allow ourselves to be bullied like this, and that's why I am hated by these. They finally actually gave me a new social worker after over a year, because I just kept pushing. And I'm not. It's not gonna be the same shit,
Everybody has a different social worker. I mean, Dana, how many social workers have you spoken to?
This time around, I've spoken to 3 different social workers, which is just, it's amazing, because last time around we had a different social worker every week, I think. And in fact, one of them, she was related to the baby's grandfather and used to do drugs with the baby's grandfather. I think used to is a strange word, because I don't think I don't know if she was still doing them, but she was a pill. I tell you, she was intimidating the hell out of my daughter, and was telling my daughter that she could not get, which medications she could and could not take. And she was very, she would text my daughter all this really bad stuff, and just, yeah, she was horrible.
Which medication your daughter should or should not take? So she's a physician?
That's what I was asking. I actually wrote a motion to remove social worker, and it looked as if my daughter wrote it, and the attorney refused to accept it, refused to give it to the judge.
See, that's what the court appointed attorneys, I call them scumbags, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're freaking pretenders. They're assholes who pretend to be attorneys, right? They just wear the suit and they go to court, and wipe their ass.
Yeah.
Or they go to court, but yet their hand is full of shit. Okay? They don't wash their hands. You know why? Because they're not going to go against the state or county. They're going against you.
Yeah.
You're not paying them, right? They're going to get paid regardless. Right? There's a lot of attorneys that I spoke to 3. I had the pleasure to speak with them right before Christmas. And they used to work for DCFS. I mean, they used to work, as a juvenile dependency attorneys. However, they said they're no longer there because it's so corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. They can't help the parents. You know why? They can't submit evidence into court. They can't. They can't do it. It's like they're holding something against them. It's like Honestly, that's why I call them demonic, Dana and Michael and everybody out there, because their motherfucking system operate demonically. You have to be dark. You have to be demonic. You have to be fucking stripped out of your soul, right? To do
Yeah.
what they do. There is no way a sane person can do what they do. No way. It's impossible. And that's why when they choose assholes to work for them, they choose the right assholes that are actually going to do this. And how old are they? Social workers? They're like what, 20, 21, 19 maybe?
Yeah.
Fresh out of high school, barely graduated. They probably used to ditch at school, smoke weed, whatever the hell they do. Yeah, they've done all that. But then they come to you, grandma. They come to Michael's father or to a mother and judge her, diagnose her, when these mother F's barely just took the diaper off them. Right?
Yeah.
So they become the prosecutor, the jury, the judges, doctors, psychiatrists, teachers, and they're not qualified to any of them. They're actually not qualified to diagnose you or your daughter. But yet, they come to you, make you talk to them by persuading you. By law, Mr. Davis says by law, they cannot get a court order to speak to you, grandma, or the father, or the mother. So what do? They intimidate them. We have a few questions. You know, the devil is clever, you guys. The devil doesn't come to you with horns and a tail, right? The devil uses fictitious charm, right? To get what he wants from you. Social workers come to you and say, oh yeah, Miss So-and-so, I would like to ask you some questions, you know, whatever. As soon as they enter your home, you already screwed up your own case. The first step they take into your home, they already fucked your case up. And that's the God honest truth. Mr. Davis always says, do not allow them in the home. Get a juvenile dependency attorney. What do I hear, Dana and Michael and everybody out there? People call me, Georgette, we hired a family law attorney. Why? Why did you hire a family law attorney? State is different than family law. Why? Because it's you versus the state, right? Family law is you versus the other party. It's not the same. But why do they hire a family law attorney? Because all they can afford is $2,500 retainer. I'm giving an example. But they will take your $2,500. They will take another $2,500 from somebody else, or $3,500 from somebody else. And they will keep collecting the whole day. By the end of the day, they'll be making at least $80,000. If you really add it up. And the desperation of people trying to hire a juvenile dependency attorney. So I thought about it, right? Why do they do that? Because people are desperate. Because a real juvenile dependency attorney is not going to, depending on the length of the case, is not going to be less than $10,000, $12,000. But what people don't understand is that you have to be smart. You have to be 5 steps ahead of them. In order for you to educate yourself, when you educate yourself, actually, you gain knowledge. And when you gain knowledge, you gain the steps that is required to be ahead of them. That's very important. So a lot of people, when they call our office, I send them the book that Mr. Davis wrote about CPS. That book, it breaks it down. I don't know if I send it to you, Michael.
I don't have it yet.
I will send it to you, Dana.
Thank you.
But that book is like, people call it the Bible. Reason for that is because he broke it down. You're right. Everything, he breaks it down. No joke. Okay? Now, a lot of people from other states, the laws that pertains in California is different. Like every state have their own demonic piece of shit law, right? It's not for the people, but it's to hinder the people. So you guys have to research on your own and what your state law is when it comes to CPS.
Okay.
That's very important. Yes, it kills you as a parent. Yes, it kills you. But what did the devil want? The devil wants you to be silent.
Mm-hmm.
The devil doesn't want you to move forward. The devil wants you to smoke weed and to drink alcohol and to do cocaine and God knows meth and all that. Why? Because it's a temporary fix that you're depending on to numb your pain. But you don't want your pain numbed. You want to be above and beyond and gain that knowledge that you need of understanding how it works. The strategy is how you conduct yourself, right?
Right.
What you need to do. The devil doesn't want you to be ahead of them. The devil wants you to be looking backwards on mistakes that you've done. You're human. You're human. We all make mistakes, but you have to learn how to rise above it. And what CPS wants you to do is they want to give you that temporary numbing painkiller because they don't want you to wake up from it. And this is all work of Satan. This is not work from God. This has nothing to do with God. This is all satanic, demonic entities. The only way to kill someone's soul, right, is to steal their children from them. When you steal children from their own family, right, from their own flesh and blood, it's worse than you. It's not like just going in there to break in somebody's home to steal a VCR. Well, they don't make it anymore, but you know what I mean, to steal a TV or whatever. Michael, I know you're laughing about the VCR part, but it's not. It's worse than that. It's worse than that. Stealing your own flesh and blood. It's worse than that. That's, to me, well, if I was an
It's the worst
attorney,
thing you can do to a person. It's the
Yeah,
worst thing you can do to a person.
yeah.
I mean, there's no pain I can compare. I mean, as much as the VCR is, the not being around not being able to, I'm missing out on so much stuff with my child.
Yeah.
Pure and simple. And like I said, I wish I can get into more about my case. Maybe we could later on, but off the record and stuff. But it's so I feel your pain. I feel, and
It's hard.
And nobody cares. That's the social workers do not care. They are demons. I mean, I can't.
They
think of
really are
anybody-
demonic.
And
But the court-appointed attorneys too, Michael.
worse. And
I
that's
mean-
what the same thing happened at my 6-month hearing. I submitted a declaration with a few things because I couldn't even get my attorney to call me back. And so I went in there. I didn't know that I had to go through the attorney. I was like, she's not, listening to me. I'm going to do it myself. So I submitted it and the clerk took it. And then I got a call back from the attorney like a couple days later. She's like, "Oh, you sent this in and you're supposed to do it through me and blah, blah." And she was pissed. Like, man, she was really pissed. And, I don't know. What else am I to do? I didn't know. I mean, I'm not just going to go down in flames, so yeah, I eventually fired her and was without an attorney, which was pretty rough too, because the social workers, they poked fun at me because I didn't have an attorney, like on the CFT meetings and all that. It's just like crazy.
Mm-hmm. They're having a field day. Yeah, they're having a field day. The thing people don't understand, you can't go to, I'm going to say it this way. Okay, if you have a heart disease, right? You cannot go to a foot doctor for your heart condition. You can't, right? How are you going to have a foot doctor look at your heart, right? And vice versa. So people that think they can handle a juvenile case on their own, they're mistaken. I mean, you got to be real to yourself. And you can't feed yourself some bunch of BS lies, right? I mean, seriously, you guys are lucky I'm not a juvenile attorney. I would have been in jail. Because there's no way I can speak in court the proper court way. I can't. I'll just tell the judge, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's exactly what I would be telling a judge in court. Not your honor. I can't do it. I can't sit there and say, your honorable judge. I can't. It doesn't even want to come out of my mouth. I will gag. I will vomit. Because they're not honorable. They're assholes. That's all they are. They're a bunch of assholes sitting in black robes. But you cannot handle this on your own. You just can't. I mean, we have clients who actually, like I said earlier today on my show, we have clients who actually lived with their brother or their grandma or their mother or sister just to not pay rent so they can have as much money for a retainer to hire a juvenile attorney. We have a father that actually said to me, Georgette, I suffered living with my brother and his wife, right? Because he just couldn't. He went from being independent to, depending on somebody else. And to a man, that's really big for his ego. But he sucked it up. He sacrificed to get his daughter back. That's all he cared about. And when he got his daughter back, he built his life up again. He built his career up again. And now he owns 2 homes. So people don't understand. People look at the cheap way to go. But you damn well know you cannot go to a Rolls Royce dealership and ask for Nissan prices. And you know damn well I'm right. You get what you pay for, whether it's in food, in shoes, clothing, bags. It doesn't matter. You get what you pay for. Period. Right? You pay a Michael Kors leather shoes or whatever, $200. You go to Payless, you pay $19 or $23. That $23 is not going to last you like the $200 one. And then you're going to end up paying more and more and more to replace the $20 shoes, right? The same thing with attorneys. You keep hiring the wrong attorneys. And how much money did you spend throughout the whole year and a half or 2 years? It will get you to at least $50,000 or more. So people don't look at the long haul. They're looking at it short term. And a lot of people, when I speak with, they say, well, Miss G, what guarantees me that I'm going to get my kids back? There's nothing in life that guarantees you anything. But I always think of this. Like God, like Jesus said, it's not what goes in your mouth that defiles you. It's what comes out of your mouth that defiles you. You're already putting a damp on your life, on your case. People don't understand that whatever they bring out of their mouth is what's going to happen in their current situation. I had a mother that I told her to do this every day. She would wake up, look at her daughter's room, and say, good morning, baby. Her daughter wasn't there. She lived her life at home where she actually felt like her daughter is still there. So her energy is out there in the universe. Get it? It's positive. She got her daughter back. So it's what you think, your thoughts is what creates your destiny, is what creates your moment. So that's very important. I have people that say, oh, Georgette, I resulted into worshiping Satan, doing some witchcraft and all this bullshit. Kidding me?
So you turned into the people that took your kid?
Yeah, you turned
that doesn't
into
make
people.
any
That's
sense.
what I said. I told her that. I said, you turned into the people that took your kids, that stole your kids. And she said, I never thought about it that way. I was desperate. That's what the devil wants you to do, is be desperate. But what did God say? I don't care if you're a Christian or not. I'm going to just speak my mind. God said what? Be still and know that I am. If you're not still, you're everywhere else but where you need to be. You need to be centered. You need to center your life. You need to center who you are. Don't give them more ammunition. You go and drink yourself to death. You go drug yourself until you can't get up. And then they laugh at you and say, look, they're not going to say, oh, we caused this. We pushed her to the limit, or we pushed him to the limit. That's not the right way to live your life. Because you're giving them power over you. You're giving them power over your situation. But what comes out of your mouth is what you create in your situation. So if you're going to call a law office and you're like, oh, well, I want to know, what guarantees me. The attorney that guarantees you to get your kids back is the attorney that you don't want to pay money to get your kids back. Because that's what social workers do. That's what court-appointed attorneys do. Oh, if you sign here and agree to the allegations, you're going to get your child back. That's bullshit. That's
no shame.
Fucking lie. That's
no
a
shame,
lie. That is
no
a
remorse at all.
bad-ass lie. Yeah. That's just a lie. It's not true. So an attorney that says, hey, Michael, pay me and I will get your child back. Michael, I know you have sense, baby, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. That is not the attorney that's going to help you.
Yeah, if it's too good to be true, that's that old saying too. If it's too good, if it sounds too good to be true, it is true. It is.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
so you guys have to be, think. Don't react using your emotions, right? When you use your emotions, you don't make the right decision in your life. Put that aside. If you want to cry at night in your bed, do it. But do not let them see you cry. That's what you need not to do.
They feed off that. That gives them strength, and they are a group. They don't do anything well alone. When you get one of them by themselves, you can kind of tolerate these social workers, but you get 2, 3, the courtroom, all of them together, you got to hold your ground. You got to stay strong, I mean, and it's hard because you are emotional. It's your kid and everything, but you have to just power through it. I mean, and don't bend, stay firm. That's a mistake I made in the beginning. I was just so emotional. The year I had and everything like that with the custody stuff and whatever. But they see that and they feed off that stuff. So whatever, I don't know exactly what plan you have for the 6-month thing. But don't bend, ask for more time, whatever you got to do. But just do not bend to these people because that's what they want.
Yeah, I told my daughter and her husband to ask for trial. So that'll give her another month. So yeah, they're gonna fight it, and that'll give me another month to have us have the approval for the resource parent. All it's waiting on is for me to have my 12 sessions with this therapist to make sure I'm not batshit crazy, and for my husband and I to be. We have to have a physical by our doctor and have the sheet turned in to our resource social worker. I think that's a little bit violating myself for them to have all of our medications that we take and our medical conditions.
Don't sign that. Don't sign that. They keep trying to get me to do that. They've been trying to get me to sign that the ROI. I think this is what I've read. This is what I've heard. They don't need anything else. All they need is the participation for certain things and verification of attendance. But be very careful what you give these people, because there's no reason that they would be trying to get me to sign this shit, like as hard and in so many different ways, like trying to trick me into signing this shit. Like, dude, but you will start. But they're so predictable now. That's the thing, But the thing is. There's no limits at what they will do to try to provoke a person. There's no limit. I mean, like the shit that's happened to me, I can't fucking make the shit up. Most people don't even believe me. Like, you know, there's a few people that have been around and witnessed these things. But like, if I were to write it, I was writing some of this stuff down for this attorney I have the other day, and I'm like, fuck, should I even put this down on paper? Because this shit does not seem fucking real. They're gonna think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
That's
The right attorney would not think you're crazy. The right
There's-
attorney that knows that the system is fucked up, they will
Mhm.
not think you're crazy, Michael. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of
Well,
women
I was
that
just thinking that myself, and
I believe them. I believe them. You know what I mean? I know.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that I'm just everybody. If you take anything from this, there is no limits on what they can and can't do, as far as I've seen. You know, within either with the courts, in their offices, in your home, even
Mhm.
the visitation center, with people around. They don't give a fuck. Excuse me, sorry guys. They just do not care. There's no.
I
There's
should
no
be
limits.
sorry on the whole entire show right now. But,
There's no limits.
I'm not sorry, actually. I speak my mind, like I said, and people that know me, they love me for who I am. Right, Michael? Okay. So
That's right.
I want
That's
to
why you're
share
the best.
something.
Miss Georgette's the best. So's Vincent Davis. Watch his videos. There's a very good little tips in there that you can
Yep,
pick
a
up.
lot of good tips. Yes.
A lot of ideas, you know, to get you going,
book
and they're
too.
in a positive light. So they do the show with Georgette and Mr. Davis's videos. They're positive. You know, they give you some. They've given me hope. You know, at certain times when I just thought I was, you know, gonna do what these social workers in the system wanted me to do. You know, die. You know, or just fuck off and disappear. You know, and give up, basically. And you know, you love your, you know, I can't do that. You know.
You know, guys, there's a grandmother that sent me a text message of a social worker when the grandmother told the social worker that her daughter died in a car accident. Right? The social worker smiled at the grandmother, and she said, "Oh, okay. I guess we're not gonna have any more court hearings then."
Oh my God.
Yeah. She sent me a text message of the video. You guys now know why I get mad. Not mad, but I get passionate when I do my shows. Is because I hear it. I literally hear their demonic. Oh my God. I literally see everything. Okay. So when I talk about social workers and I call them scumbag and assholes and demonic, it's because I hear this shit.
Heartless, soulless.
I'll give you another example. We have a parent, we have a mother that actually went to meet the social worker at a Starbucks. And you guys are not going to believe this. The social worker was wearing a cross that was upside down.
Oh my God.
Right? So the mother is Christian. So what she wrote in the report that the mother has Jesus, a picture of Jesus on a cross in her home. I've heard this a lot. You know, grandparents tell me the same thing. However, that social worker had the cross upside down. So the mother was so naive to it. She said, Georgette, I was just asking, you know, why is your cross upside down? The worker told her, that's how I see your Jesus. Right? So basically, the devil is Jesus. That's why it's upside down. In her eyes, that is. Get it? That's their God.
That's sick. That's
yeah. So in the report, satanic worshipers. Yeah.
Blasphemous. Yeah, satanic.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, some sick fucks.
There's some sick fucks out there. I'm telling you. And that social worker wrote in the report that the mother is too Christian. What does Jesus' picture have to do with being a mother or being a parent or whatever? What does a cross have to do? You know, I don't see anything in the Bible that says Jesus is dangerous, right? Jesus didn't say go, you know, kill chicken and use the blood and put spills on people. I mean, what the hell is that about? Right? In the Bible, it says God is love. You know, love your neighbor. Pray for your enemy, which I cannot do for the love of God. I cannot pray for my enemy. Why? I can't
Yeah, I
do
never
it.
got that one.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not a perfect Christian, but there's no way I can pray for my enemies. I just will not say anything about them. I'll just leave them alone.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to sit there and pray for them. I just refuse. So again, but nothing in the Bible that actually states any violence, correct? So why is it so bad? Why is it so bad? Why should that matter in the report? And why would a judge see that as an important fact to keep the children away from the parent? Right? You would think this is common sense, right?
Mhm.
Why are they using that against the parents and the grandparents? Grandmother says the same thing to me because she's Catholic, right? The social worker did not like the fact that the grandmother had the rosary at home. So now you can't be Christian? Is that another thing now? Is that another rule? I don't understand. There's so much that's going on that makes absolutely zero sense.
They didn't like the fact that I mentioned my girls when I sent my girls to parochial school when they asked me all about that LGBTQ whatever. And they didn't like the way that I answered the question. I mean, I didn't think I answered it that bad, but they made me go through a whole nother host of questions about what if my small child turned out to be, and I said, if my small child had any questions at all, I think that I might have a problem with it. You're talking about small child here, and that that's just, I think that somebody would have put that in their head then, because and that's how we got started on the conversation, and I wasn't trying to be, mean about anything, but I just, and I said, and I don't think it'd be an issue anyways, because I sent my kids to parochial school, and they just kind of took it as kind of funny. And then they had to have me talk to somebody else about that. Well, you're going to have to be counseled.
Oh my God.
Gosh,
but that's the thing about it is this, okay? Just because there's gays and lesbian, it doesn't mean you're against them, right?
Right.
It doesn't mean you disrespect them, right?
Right.
We respect people. If I have a Buddhist friend, right?
Right.
I have a Buddhist friend. Does that mean I'm going to disrespect her because her belief is different than mine? I'm Christian, 100% Christian. That's not going to change ever. That doesn't mean she's not my friend anymore because she's Buddhist. I also have a gay friend, a man, right? He knows where I stand, but we've been friends for 28 years. Guess what? He came out before way long ago. And we used to joke about it, me and him. So kind of like he knows where I stand in my belief and I know where he stands, but we love each other, right? We're friends. Your belief has nothing to do with your ability to be a parent.
Right.
Completely separate. That's why church and state is separate. So why are they bringing it as an excuse that you're not a good parent? If church and state is separate, correct?
Right.
Why is it a factor when CPS is involved? Why are they talking about people's religion? Why are they talking about people's belief? Why are you holding somebody accountable because he or she is Muslim or because Buddhist, right? Why? I realize that because the juvenile whorehouse, right? The courthouse, I call it the whorehouse. Most of them have judges who are gays and lesbians, right? They have attorneys who are gays and lesbians. They have social workers who are gays and lesbian. There's nothing wrong with that. But they want to hold the parent accountable because their belief system, is theirs. Correct? We judge no one, but we are not going to be going by your rules either. Think about it. It's stupid. If I'm Christian, there's no way in hell somebody can come to me and say, hey, Miss G, you better be this religion if you want to get your children back, right? Or you have to believe this way to fit in. I don't want to fit in your circle, you piece of shits. I don't want to be in your circle. I want to be in my circle where I know what I'm doing and I'm more comfortable, right? Does that mean Miss G is going to go out there and judge everybody for what they do? No, that's not my job. My job is to love everyone equally, to treat everyone equally. Who the hell am I to judge? Who the hell are they to judge? With their stinky ass. Who are they? They shed like us, they eat like us, they bleed like us. Who are they?
I don't know. They're you know, even in my case, you know, in a lot of cases I've seen and stuff like that, you know, you're supposed to, you know, give everybody an opportunity, you know, to present their side, and then based off of the facts that are, you know, pertaining to this case or the matter, then you make a judgment on it, you know, not exactly like somebody writing like a social worker writing like something like that in your I don't know, in the report about something that doesn't matter. I mean, I don't. Yeah, there's something there. You know, needs to be a change somewhere because a lot of people are suffering.
Honestly, you guys, like Mr. Davis says, you need to start voting for judges. I know. That's, you know, they say it's not going to work because they're reelected or whatever. But honestly, we need to vote them out. There's a couple of judges in LA County, actually a lot of judges in LA County that I working on getting them out. Really am. And there's so many people supporting me. So many. But these mother F's are going to be exposed, each and every one of them. Each and every one of them will be exposed. I'm talking about from social workers to court pretenders to judges. Family court ain't no different. Family court judges are just as bad. They're just corrupt in a different way. They're all corrupt. All judges are corrupt. All they care about, judges are, I'll tell you what judges are. Judges are, you know how mothers have, you know, sons, right? And their mother, judges are like, either their mom was a judge or their dad was a judge, and then they're forced to go to law school so they can become a judge too, because they have to follow mommy and daddy's, you know, little footsteps. Get it? They're forced into where they are. So literally, I kind of question that a lot. You know, there's some hidden deep shit in them too. But yet they're qualified to judge you. I'm not making this shit up. This is real shit. I
believe it.
I literally speak of real life stories. Okay? I've seen it. I've heard it. Where mommy spoils little Jimmy because little Jimmy goes to UCLA or USC, and little Jimmy has to be a judge like mommy. You know? But little Jimmy has issues because daddy wasn't around, and now he has to deal with a stepdaddy who's a scumbag. And then little Jimmy becomes a judge. And then little Jimmy hates men because daddy wasn't there. And then he
takes his tantrums.
There you go. He'll take it out on Mr. Hernandez, for example, who's fighting to see his child during visitation. Same thing with women judges. They have issues. Then they're going to go against the man, or they're going to go against the woman. It's the same shit. But yet they sit there and judge you as a parent when they themselves have issues and need somebody to fucking diagnose them. That's how it works. If I'm wrong, hey.
Unfortunately, it is.
I know I'm not wrong.
It is.
Yeah, it's the truth.
Unfortunately, it is.
Yeah, and that's all you hear. You hear what people reviews. Oh, this judge is biased. This judge is this. But why are you biased? Right? It's because of your life, because of your past. And they want to have control over people because they love control. Because they couldn't have control in their own lives. Because they were raised by a controlling mother or a controlling father. or
what is
both.
it? An inferiority
Yep.
complex. You know, that's yeah, I see that, and that's
Yeah.
typical in law enforcement in some cases too. You know, it sucks because these jobs should be they're like privileges in
Yeah.
a way, and
Yeah.
you're dealing with people's lives and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but they just
That's what a narcissist wants. I mean, that's what a narcissist crave is to have a badge so he or she can drive under the influence. He or she can beat somebody up, but they're gonna be safe because they're firefighters, because they're cops. They're gonna cover for each other.
Under the color of law.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, the wife is a judge. Don't touch that house. Oh, don't go there. There's abuse, but leave it alone. It's gonna be under the rug. Don't speak about it. Leave it alone. Yeah, but yet people like me, you, Michael, and other people out there, we're not, we don't have a title, but we have more freaking common sense than they do. We have the ability to love. We have the ability we have compassion, something they will never have. They might have a title, but they can't have what we have because that's very rare. Because these motherfuckers, they mimic you because they don't have their own identity. So they mimic the person they're with. They become them. They start speaking like them. They start acting like them. They start saying they do like them, but they really don't have their own identity.
that's a sad way to live, you know. That's
It
a
is.
very
It's a
very sad
very
way to live.
sad way to live. And I wanna educate the public about this. I know we're coming to the end of the show, but I want to educate the public about this. Don't ever allow them to divide your family apart. Don't ever allow them to divide you apart from your own family. They will go to your best friend. They will talk to your mom. They will talk to your aunt. They will talk to your neighbor. They will talk to anybody that's in your circle to divide you and to make you feel like they make you feel complete abandonment. They will go to the grandma and say, Grandma, the mother said that she said this. And grandma retaliates against her own daughter that she gave birth to. Because now she's blaming her daughter for what the social worker told her. But this is a game that they play. That game they play is to make sure that you're completely alone. Because when you're alone and you're facing it on your own, you're going to fall apart so much faster. Right? Then if mommy there and your brother Jimmy is there and your sister Kathy is there holding you together, right? That's stronger, right? Being stronger. But when they want you divided, it's because they want you to be solo. So if anybody in your family member that believes them over knowing who you are, then they are not worth to be around you. Because your friends know you, your family should know you, I hope. So remember this, when a narcissist attacks, they want to isolate. When the devil attacks, he wants you isolated. So he attacks the home because that structure, once it's broken, the house is not together anymore. Get it? Your home crumbles. It falls apart. So what is the structure? The mother, the children, the father, because they made them together. That's the structure. So I need you guys to be very mindful and very aware. Just because they said, she said, and he said, that's bullshit. That's like you giving ear to the devil and say, okay, well, tell me more, tell me more. No, that's bullshit. Wake up, right? And before you blame your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your mother, wake up. And grandparents, please talk to your children. Don't just assume, that your child is doing this to her children. Talk to them. See what's really going on. Don't just go report. Also, mother-in-laws. What the hell is wrong with you guys? Just because you hate a daughter-in-law?
Yeah.
You report your daughter-in-law? I mean, that you have to be some psycho piece of crap to do this. Especially if you know your daughter-in-law is innocent. You know, I don't mind you. You know, it's stop doing this. Act like a family. Talk to each other. Don't fight together. Don't retaliate against each other. You are blood. For the love of God, stop being so violent and stop being accusative. Stop accusing people and assuming. You know, they say assuming, you know, assumption is like making an ass out of you and me. But in this case, you're just making an ass out of yourself solo. Because you're doing shit maliciously because you don't like somebody in the family. That has to be some serious shit that you need to really get help.
Sounds like a good CPS worker right there.
Yeah.
A good
right?
trait of a CPS worker, yeah, just breaking down your own family, you know, with
Yeah,
gossip.
stop doing this. Yeah, exactly. Stop doing this. If you see your daughter, you know, that's the thing too. It's oh my God. If your daughter wants their kids to go to bed at 9 o'clock, right? And you say, no, let them stay up until 10, right? Why? But the mom says, no, I want my kids to go to bed at 9. Why do you have to fight with her because of that? Put yourself in her shoe. You were a mother once, right? You were a mother once. You wanted to teach your children a certain way. Now, I can understand if she's holding a knife about to stab your grandchild, then damn, that's the right reason to call 911, isn't it? I get that part. But don't just make allegations and because your grandkids, your nieces and nephews are the ones that are suffering from your actions. They're the ones who are suffering. And what you do to others, it will be done unto you so badly on so many different levels of pain that you're going to reflect back and you're going to remember what you've done to other people. And you're not going to be able to sleep at night because you knew what they're feeling. Now you know how they felt. Now you understand pain. So be very mindful and stop it. Stop the chaos. Stop the drama. Because if you guys want the system to change, you also have to change. Because you're opening Pandora's box when you call the police. You're opening Pandora's box when you call CPS. You guys want the system to change? You need to change yourselves. And act like a family. Act like unity. That's what it should be. I can disagree with my sister and my brother all day long. I can disagree with my niece and nephews all day long. But do I hate them? Am I going to hurt them because we disagree to agree? No. No. People always want to change others, but they're not looking at themselves. You need to change who you are. You need to reflect on who you are. Like the guy that I was talking about today, the husband, he wanted to watch the game. I was talking about it on my show at 1 o'clock. His wife didn't want him to watch the game, so she took the remote from him. What did he do? Call 911 because he wanted to scare his wife. The kids were not home with them. They were at the grandparents' house. Social workers were notified, went and took the children on an emergency removal because of domestic violence. They told me, the parents, that it was a dumb mistake. But that's why I said don't act on emotions. Take a deep breath. Walk away. Because that call that you made because of a freaking remote control, right? And her because of a game, for the love of God, that was the dumbest shit, right? Mm-hmm. You can't take it back now. You opened Pandora's box, buddy. You opened it. That call that you made, that was not necessary is what opened that box. When you open Pandora's box, there's no way in hell you can close it. And Dana, you know exactly what I'm saying, and so do you, Michael. Okay? So people don't understand their actions is what really gets them into their position today. But sometimes it's not even them, it's somebody else's action. An ex-husband that doesn't want to pay child support. Example. An ex-husband that will accuse the wife beat him, right? 6'3". His wife is 5'5", and beat her husband after she had a C-section. He calls the police. The police looks at him like, really, dude? Really? She beat you? But he doesn't get arrested. But guess what? He wanted that call to be made so that way he can show the mother is bad, so that way the baby's not with her, so that way he avoids paying child support. But a man that does something like this is usually somebody who's involved in the system, meaning he has somebody in the system that works for the system that will enforce what he wants. You get it now? So there's things that's in your control and there's things that's out of your control, depending on the situation. But in the big picture, look at your family and keep your unity together, because a game is not worth it. My dad and my mom used to watch my dad watch soccer, watch football, watch basketball. And she said, man, if you can't beat him, just join him. She started watching it with him. And they both had their own teams, and my mom involved herself in my dad's life. That's his wife. But don't get mad at your husband because he's watching a game. Give me a break. Get over it. It's a game. Men love sports. Shit, you can't get me away from a hockey game. You understand? It's kind of like, yes, you have your favorite team and you want to watch it. Let it go. But again, keep the unity together, guys, and be positive and educate yourself to gain knowledge so you can be ahead of CPS. Because these mother Fs don't want you to have knowledge. Remember that. They don't want you to know your rights.
They don't want you to have happiness.
They don't want you to be happy. Absolutely not. They don't want you to be happy. So I want to thank you, Michael, and I want to thank you, Dana. Michael, you're a wonderful, wonderful co-host. I love your energy. I love you so much, Michael, so much. And Dana, thank you so much, honey, for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure. And I want you also to text me and your name so that way I can text you Mr. Davis's book as I promised I would.
Okay.
And then I will text you the book. Just text me and just say, Georgette, just reminder Mr. Davis's book, and I will text it to you 100%.
Okay. All right. I will do that.
All right, you guys. Thank you.
Good luck,
Okay.
Dana.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Sorry
All
about the
right.
microphone.
Goodbye. Thanks.
Have
All
a
right.
good night. Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.